Hey, good morning, everyone. Just want to be able to chime in with you today. It's been a minute, and I just want to be able to reach out to everyone as I haven't done a broadcast in quite some time since the Mossack 3. But I think it's imperative today to be able to educate quite a few people and to bring a virtual town hall to the current situation in Ukraine. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've noticed that I put a significant post out there, and that post pretty much over the boxer that's the mayor of Ukraine, Vladimir. So I want to be able to share quite a few things with you as well to let you know that there's an ongoing situation as far as the attack on the Ukraine. So I want to be able to bring some things in perspective as well. But the biggest thing I want to let you know is that how is that a lot of us are liking the post of what I put out there. And the biggest thing that I can honestly say is that say about 8 months ago, we had the same scenario with Afghanistan, but now this is a bigger thing that's happening right now. What's happening right now is significantly affecting the whole world. Now we're talking about the gas prices, we're talking about cost of living, but the biggest thing we're talking about is fake propaganda, gossip, propaganda, but fake information that is provided by the Russian government, Mr. Putin, and attacking the Ukraine and creating a form of genocide that's pretty much that has happened 70 years ago with Hitler. Have you noticed that pretty much Putin is taking the same direction as Hitler, and it's affecting the whole world? And needless to say, the Russians that are in the Russian military don't really understand the full concept of the mission. So how is it that they're going to continue to attack and then take over Ukraine? And then, as the president of Ukraine stated, that Russia and Ukraine is like the brother, right? Why would you attack your own brother? And the biggest thing that I can honestly say is, why would you do that? But needless to say, also the administration, with all due respect, is providing sanctions to ruin their credit or stop them from doing everything possible. That's not going to do anything, because we're going to wind up doing the same thing again like we did in Afghanistan. As a veteran from Persian Gulf, and as a veteran that's been following quite a number of things, conflicts as well, I want to be able to share with you quite a few things. We're going to wind up being involved in this, because I take it that Putin is not going to take no for an answer. And his allies are pretty much distancing themselves from this whole scenario. But the biggest thing I want to address is there's a lot of people that have been liking my posts, and then for a number of reasons. But what are you going to do about it as far as having this scenario? There's a lot of people in Europe that's really affected on it. There, people are protesting in Moscow and St. Petersburg, here in Los Angeles as well. They're protesting quite a bit. But the biggest thing that's happening is that we're back at it again. 8 months later, 20 years in Afghanistan, now we got a situation with the Russia and Ukraine. China's not too far away. I'm not a politician by all means, but I'm using common sense, and look at what's happening in our world. If you pay attention to the global maps, right? Alaska and Russia is like not too far away, up in the sea, Bering Sea. So what makes you think that we're not next? What makes you think that all this is a pretense to everything that's going on? Now, before I move forward, this broadcast is brought to you by LinkedIn Perspective. This is a program that I've been able to help create, and is to reach out to the masses, individuals like yourself. This is not sponsored or not censored, but pretty much LinkedIn has a trust and safety committee that oversees anything that can be considered insurrection. And as a veteran in the United States Marine Corps, as a U.S. citizen, and as a paid subscriber, I'm here to more or less advocate freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and to reach out to the masses to educate people themselves that, as much as the media portrays, we're going to have a candid conversation with no commercials, with the exception that I didn't bring any water. So I might be long-winded, so I might have to chew on my lip for a little bit. But I want to reach out to you. I want to be able to share some things. And if you feel free to have an open mic and be respectful, because I put my number out there for a reason. If you have a idea of what is important and what you need to express, feel free to call me at 562-286-3111. That is 562-286-3111. And this voice your opinion, and voice your opinion to the point of, sorry, I got to pick my nose. I'm sorry. That's disrespectful. I don't know how the broadcasters do it. They switch from one to one, but I just want to be able to say that. So this broadcast, again, is brought to you by LinkedIn Perspective. It's a vehicle to reach out to the masses in a very positive way, to have a positive solution based on the negative outcomes that are happening in our society. So as a veteran and a United States Marine, I want to be able to share that with you. I want to be able to put things in perspective, not only for you, but for everybody else. I guess I got a caller. Hold on just a minute. Hello, how are you? Hello?
Hey, how you doing? Is this Mr. Figueroa?
Yes, sir. This is Mr. Figueroa. Who I have the pleasure of speaking with?
No, thank you. It is my pleasure. This is Jose Manuel Prado.
Go ahead, Jose.
Chicago.
What's up, Jose? How are you?
Your live podcast here.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm actually, I'm a little worried about what's going on.
Yeah, go for it, man. Tell me your concerns. Go ahead. Hello?
All right, yes.
Go ahead. You're on the floor. I got you the mic. Go for it. Let's talk about it. Okay?
Sounds good.
Let's go for it.
So first of all, I just want to thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, thank you for your service. First of all, thank you for what you're doing with the community. One of the things that you talked about is that what is it that we're willing to do to help our community. I mean, to help just the world peace.
Right.
I love your post. I actually let me just introduce myself.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. Don't worry about it. This ain't WNBC. This is my, the show I created for real people like you and me.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I've been a boxer. I met Klitschko. He's a very good friend of my coach. From the Matadors, Tom O'Shea. He's Irish. He trained 6 world champs, and I'm also a banker. I'm a commercial banker. I've been banking for 20 years.
Right.
I serve in 7 different not-for-profit organizations as president, treasurer. I currently, I'm an advisor for organizations, including with the president of Latin America, Salvador, Mexico. I was born and raised in Mexico, but I mean, this is concerning, and here's my 2 cents.
Yeah, go for it.
This is concerning because I mean, it's just like it's happening around the world. They're killing innocent people, and that's what's made me kind of like share with all my 1,700 professional connections online, and they're all professional lawyers. I mean, I have so many connections, and this is not to sound cocky, but I mean, this is what I work for.
Right.
When I came here from Mexico, I didn't speak no English, and I was only 15 years old, but still, a lot of people helped me out. I started working as a dishwasher, and I became a vice president in banking, which opened the doors for me to help. To help
others, right? So I know I got other people. I don't want to be rude, but I got other people on the call. So let's, I want to hear you what you got to say, but put it out there. I just got to be like that. Sorry.
So what I'm gonna say, you asked one of the questions. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So I actually reached out to some senators, including Dick Durbin, a good friend of mine. Some other senators, I mean, the sanctions are good, but I mean, they're going to make an impact, of course, especially with the SWIFT code being removed from the world. But the most important thing is that hopefully everyone puts the little, grain or arena, which means put a little piece, and hopefully we can help this. And I'm going to keep watching live podcasts.
All right, man. Hey, man, thank you very much. You as a Latino like I am, what's the biggest concern what's the biggest thing that you can take away from this scenario as a Latino like myself, that you come to this free country and you're witnessing, and, give it the street term of what people should really get. You don't have to be be polite, but be frank.
To be frank,
yeah.
My biggest concern is that after they take over Ukraine, they're gonna. What's next? Poland? What's next? Ukraine? What's next? They want to take over Mexico, fight the U.S. I mean, like you said in your podcast, Alaska is right next door.
Right.
So that's my biggest concern, and that's what I'm taking away from here, from your podcast.
So, what have you learned from this? Yeah, but one more question: what have you learned about this podcast compared to other podcasts on LinkedIn? Let me ask you that.
The number one thing is that what are you doing to help?
Right. So I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Right. So I got some other. Thank you. If you like this content, share it, like it, tag it. This broadcast is perfect.
I'm going to share it right now.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hopefully some more people can join.
Thank you so much. No problem. So for another people, I apologize, but I only have one phone. So excuse me if I can't get in there, but I'm going to call one person that called me just a little while ago. So we're going back to the actual scenario of the fall of Ukraine. What are we going to do about it? And more or less, what are we going to do as a company? Hey, this is Hiram. How are you? Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Dr. Yonisha Jacqueline Wagner with a mouthful of food. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's why we're live. It's not scripted.
Terrible newscast. We're eating. We're picking our nose.
That's fine. So go ahead. You have a concern? Knock yourself out. Tell me what's going on.
So my thing is, I have two really good friends. They are family to me. I went through the foster care system, so I have extended family, and they are from the Ukraine.
Right.
And before even the newscasts were propaganda and making it sensational.
Right.
My friends were already worried. So I heard first news day by day, blow by blow. And nobody's talking about that. I don't watch the news. And the reason why I don't watch the news, because it doesn't help the situation.
Correct.
Me sitting there watching people with limbs gone, carcasses.
Right.
These are people. Nobody's talking about that part of it.
Correct.
My heart is very heavy because of that.
Right. So if you notice in the news, right, and a lot of people understand that the men in Ukraine are from 18 to 60 or have to stay to fight. So now we're going to guerrilla war.
It's actually 16. 16
now. No, well, thank you. Something new every day. I learn something new.
Yeah, it's actually 16. One of my friends, her brother is 15 and a half.
Right.
And he has to fight.
So let me ask you this. Can you ever envision in the fact that we can be next? And we learned a lot from Iraq. We learned a lot from Afghanistan. We learned to pull out of Afghanistan. And with all due respect to the administration, they're doing sanctions. That's like trying to ruin your credit. But at the end of the day, right, there's lives inside. We're looking at grandmothers walking around at 79 years old with AK-47s and Molotov cocktails. We're watching kids that are being separated. It's almost a revision of the Holocaust 70 years ago of Schindler's List and The Pianist, of the guerrilla warfare and the form of genocide that we're witnessing today. How is it that a civilian like yourself, an American that lives in the United States right here, can really affect you and the others. What's your point? What's your thought on that? Let me ask you that.
So for me, I've always had family, extended family from other countries. I don't want to say I'm really not an American, but I've never been one to be like, America's the best, America's the rule, America, and maybe that's bad. But I just have always been able, since a little girl, to see the other side.
Correct.
To see the PTSD, to see the schizophrenia, to see teaching art therapy to vets. In war, it's not about losing or winning. It's just about who's left.
Right.
And for me, the way I feel being in America, it's not even if we're going to be next. We will be next.
Of course.
I mean,
we are next.
It's not if, it's when. And what are we going to do? How are we going to, we can't hunker down and live underground. You know what I mean? You can't do that. So what are you going to do? So the only thing that I can think that I can do is just make my mind a beautiful place and make my peace for all. And I'm not saying I will survive it. I'm not saying that I'm not going to, not learn how to protect myself. That I will do. But when the chips are down, at least I know if I do die from this, I died with knowing I did everything to stop it.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Well, one last thing. What can you take away from this broadcast? And what is it that you really want to convey to the audience out there as they're listening to you right now? Let me ask you that.
That's a really good question. And I'm trying to resist from saying Figaro.
You can say that. I'm easy to work with. Don't worry about it. There's no sponsors or nothing like this.
I know, right? A little opera. I think for me, what I want to convey to everybody out there, this isn't the first time. History repeats itself, right?
Correct.
So instead of going into mass hysteria, anxiety, can't sleep, we need to start preparing ourselves.
Right. And
why? We need to prepare our mind. We need to prepare our body. We need to prepare our heart. We need to get healthy. We need to get serious. This WhatsApp chatting, this Instagram, this let's hook up, none of that's going to matter in 8 months.
No, it's not. And the biggest thing as a woman, right? Women have a strong intuition about quite a few things that, a lot of us men don't understand, because first of all, women are the only species that can bear children, right? And they have that form of multitasking and communication and emotional connection. What can you educate the rest of society that women have that a lot of us take for granted? One more question for you.
Power.
Awesome.
Power. Women have power and we know how to utilize it. Men want power and they destroy to have it. Awesome.
Well, thank you very much. And, feel free to, call again. I mean, I'm giving everybody an opportunity, and this platform is brought to you by LinkedIn, and LinkedIn Perspective this is a non-commercialized, non-censored, but it's monitored by the LinkedIn Trust and Safety Committee that allows people to do that. And as far as us as American citizens, we should pay attention, because as paid subscribers and as paid professionals, we should pay attention that people are reaching out to me and they're saying, oh, this is business. Well, guess what? War is business. People don't understand.
It's always been business. That was the whole creation of war.
Right. Well, a lot of people don't understand, man, is that war is business. And I had a couple of people that, saying, don't post this on LinkedIn. You're not gonna pull a cancel culture on me and tell me this, when everybody knows that the gas prices and everything else, it's affecting the business. And these are people that are in business that don't understand the reality of war and how the logistics play as well. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Even where I work, a lot of times policy is dictated because it's within business needs. Now, I'm not saying they are for this or for that. I'm not representing my company that I work for. But at the same token, the takeaway from that is business needs. That really translates into world events. What are the business needs? Well, the economy's low, let's start a war. Well, people are spending, but they're spending too much, let's start a virus. It's business needs, and that's part of the system. And the way to not be part of the system is to educate yourself. Education is power.
Well, that's the biggest thing.
As the Bible,
Right. I think the last thing I want to be able to share with you is that we're so consumed with the social media and everything else. We've lacked the education. We've lacked the interaction. We've lacked the continuity of building each other. And we solely rely on social media so much that we lost our
ability to for ourselves.
Right. Exactly. Our intuition. We've lacked the concentration to be able to communicate and define ourselves because everything is at our fingertips. Well, man, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And anytime, feel free. If you like this content, share it, like it, tag it, and please make it. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day. So for a lot of you,
thank you so much.
You're welcome, man. Thank you. So for a lot of you individuals, I am not a more or less. Hey, I'm going to take this call, but it's a phone call that's going to run my bill. So who do I have the pleasure of speaking with real quick? Hello? Hello? Yeah.
And I'm calling from Nigeria.
Give me 2 minutes of your time because it's an expensive call. I'm sorry. I don't have WhatsApp app, but go ahead. Go for it. You got them on. Go ahead.
Unfortunately, a lot of people do not know that war is business, but at the same time, Ukraine is being a bit in this situation where Putin or Russia is trying to do what they can do to gain back the Soviet Union. If you ask me, I would say it is wise and diplomatic for the peace of the world and the peace of Ukrainian for the Ukraine government to step aside from NATO and Russia being forced to sign diplomatic agreement with them not to interfere with their business forever if they agree to step away from NATO activities.
So
the peace of the world and the peace of Ukraine.
So you got 1 more minute. So here it is. What can you let the audience know? You coming from Nigeria, real quick. Give them a synopsis of what it is. What do you take away, and what's important that they need to hear your voice?
Because if this continue, the other NATO country would not be able to interfere with the activities of Russia to support Ukraine with physical activity. The best they will be able to do is to give them supply. But at the same time, Ukraine is going to go down to the least of it. So for the best of interest of Ukrainian and its citizen, it would be wise to make the harsh decision to step aside for peace. Because other part of the world will not be able to interfere and support them with manpower. The best they will do is to give them resources, but they will also need manpower to use these resources, which they will not have at some point in time.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
Lose for Ukraine.
So you got 15 seconds. Give it because this call is going to cost me, but I got to give you 15 more seconds. One thing you want to leave the audience.
For me, my heart is broken that Ukrainians are going to be killed because the war is in their territory already.
Right.
So it is a situation that looks like if the war is in your territory, you have nothing less than to lose. More also, if you don't have all of the human resources to fight back, it's going to be at a negative end. So for national interest and the peace of the world, no matter the sanctions on Russia, the negative impact is going to be on Ukraine, not on other parts of the world, not even in Nigeria, not even on other NATO countries, unless they interfere and Russia is retaliate. And we may get to that point if the right thing is not done, but allowing Ukraine stay off NATO activity.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate your time. You know, normally I don't deal with people from Nigeria, but you are an intelligent man, so I give you the floor, and thank you. So if you like this content, share it, like it, and make it a point.
Because we need to all share our opinion about what should be done and what we think is right, and the world look at it diplomatically.
All right.
Because we have problem in Nigeria where people have been killed, but it is not a war in quote that is leading to that.
Okay, sir.
There are internal issues, insecurity and defense, but a war in quote is going to be a very drastic one on other parts of the world, because if anybody in South there like Putin say, I could tell Putin.
Thank you, sir. I gotta go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You're welcome.
So, man, that's going to cost me a penny, but who cares, right? Share it, like it, tag it for the people out there on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn Perspective. As we're speaking about the situation in Ukraine, we're talking about Putin, talking about genocide. We're talking about guerrilla warfare. We're talking about the economic situation. We're talking about our government that's currently doing sanctions and working with NATO. But here's the thing, folks. We got about 8,000 military folks that have been deployed to Europe. That's not including the United States Army and other military bases around Europe that's been able to more or less provide deployment as well. The Scandinavian countries that I've noticed, Netherlands, Switzerland, Finland, Norway, places like that, they're pretty much been boisterous as far as the opinions is concerned. But the biggest thing I want to be able to share with you is this, is that why is it that it takes a crisis for all of us to get together? Why is it that we continue to be able to more or less be affected, and then we're being reactive versus proactive? And thank you, brother. You're right. Second Meth is deployed too. Correct. And so I won't give too much of the intel, but I want to be able to share that with you for a lot of reasons, right? A lot of people are frustrated and they're tired of the news, but here we're having a virtual town hall that allows people like yourselves and myself to be able to share the content, to be able to voice your opinion. I'm not going to pull any cancel cultures, because I'll be facilitating this type of broadcast and podcast as well. So it allows you to voice your opinion in quite a few things for a number of reasons. It's because you have the freedom of expression, freedom of religion. A lot of the military who has fought here in the United States has, dedicated their lives for you to be able to speak in a way that no other country. Look at the United States and look at Ukraine. Look what's happening right now, and think about what's happening with Russia as well. As I stated before in the top of the broadcast, if you look at Alaska and you look at the Bering Sea and you look at Russia, we're not too far away. It's like being from Florida to Cuba. So what makes you think that that's not going to happen to us? As far as the leadership is concerned, we should be able to understand and take matters in our own hands in a professional way, where we exercise our rights, we reach to our congressmen, we reach to everybody else, and form a united front to be able to demonstrate. Because you know what? A lot of people don't really understand. There's a lot of Russian immigrants and Ukraine immigrants that are living here in the United States. They're living here in Southern California. They're living all over the place. And trust me, during the Cold War, there was a lot of things that was going on as well. So I think that people need to re-educate themselves for a number of reasons. You're starting to see the trend. You're starting to see something that people were taken by. I never underestimate this guy from the get, because as Condoleezza Rice, who was interviewed for this situation in Russia, she stated that when she first met Putin, he was a skinny, quiet guy and was very shy. So look what happened over 10, 15 years, 20 years later. I mean, it's more or less that the guy has been able to dictate, tell people that they're going to, that they're part, that Ukraine is part of a genocide environment, or they're pushing fake news. That's pretty much what the guy is doing. He's creating animosity with his narcissistic attitude, and then he has passive aggressive tendencies, and he's utilizing the government at his expense. And I'm sure there's a lot of Russian people in Russia, with all due respect, that are totally against it. As you notice in the news as well, there's a lot of more or less Russian soldiers that surrendered because they didn't know what was going on. But still, we're being persecuted for, hey, we're not giving in as much as possible. Here's another situation, ladies and gentlemen. I really believe that history will repeat itself, as you stated, Sam. And the other thing that I want you to know is that about quite a few things that are going to come back and it's going to hit us in the face. We are relying so much on the administration to take care of us, but we're not taking care of ourselves. We are totally dependent on exports and imports, and we're not even investing in ourselves to be able to create our own history as far as American built and American made. We're at the mercy of everything else that's going on, ladies and gentlemen. You have to understand that. And if you wonder why the veterans of today are very resentful of what's going on, this is a classic case of cancel culture, and this is a classic case of being politics. And politics in a way where it prevails, but we are the forgotten, the chosen ones and the forgotten ones to be able to, represent the United States in quite a few ways. I've noticed that quite a few people that were liking this post, and this post went viral, and I didn't think about it, but it's more or less for individuals like, we have this boxer, his brother, they're both professionals. They won everything as much as possible. But the biggest thing is they're fighting for the country. They're fighting for their country for a number of reasons, right? Think about it. Put yourself in their situations and think about us being attacked, and we're formed to guerrilla warfare. And a lot of people are more or less, stacking the arms and the ammo and everything else. But man, can you imagine if we were attacked? Can you imagine that there's a chance of nuclear warfare that's going to be, projected on there? I don't get it. I don't get it. But a lot of you people are too comfortable, man. You're too comfortable about this. You're seeing, you're witnessing the crime. Gas prices are going up. Food prices are going up. Housing is going out. And more or less, you're right, Christopher. Putin is leveraging our entire dysfunctional and executing his plan, right? Because too many people are not buying into it, and it's more or less that people should be up in arms. Thank you, James. People should be up in arms for quite a few things. We should take a refresher course of 9/11. Look what happened 20 years ago, right? Somebody came to the United States on September 11th, bombed the Twin Towers, kicked our ass, took names, and then we spent 20 years looking for Osama bin Laden, quite a few other things, Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, everybody fell, and we still pulled out. And what happened? What was the recourse of that? We had so many, like over 250 or, almost 250,000 veterans that died. And that's not including the veterans that are dying right now in suicide as well. And the thing about it is that we're too busy chilling at home. But think about it. This is like too close to home. And people are not taking to heed that it's not going to happen to us. Take a note from what's happening to the Ukraine, right? They didn't think that was going to happen. Boom. Surprise. This guy started bombing. I've seen tanks running over vehicles pretty much. people running down to the subways to be able to get away from the bombing. That's like World War II, back in the bombings when they were bombing, people going to shelters. And people don't understand that. You've lost history, folks, and you've lost it for a lot of ways because, you know, you didn't live 70 years ago. Now, history is repeating itself in so many ways. It's pathetic. And you should take a note because we provide the history in the history books, but now we're living it again. So what makes you think that we're not next? What makes you think we are next? Because we're in part of the NATO alliance. So a lot of you people who are not fully understanding is that because we have 40 other nations and with NATO, they're providing all this information for everybody else. We should be able to understand that eventually, if this goes on more than 30 days, we're going to wind up putting boots on the ground. So a lot of people are too busy not seeing that. And if you have have family members that are in active duty in the military, you should be very concerned because it's game on. You know, it's game on for a number of reasons. And while you're staying home, watching the news, quarterbacking, put yourself as a Ukrainian being invaded by the Russians. And then what's happening is China's not too far away. Korea, on the other hand, you know, they're riding the bench. Put me in, coach. I'm not a politician. But it's important for everyone to understand that we as Americans or paid professionals on the social media site should be able to understand that this significantly impacts us in quite a bit. If you haven't educated yourself in the tutorials of politics as far as business is concerned, take some notes, really look at it and look at the scenario what's going on. What must go up will come down. And as the prices continue to go up, they will come down very hard. And what stops us from having some form of another depression or recession? You know, most of us don't understand that, and people ourselves are not fully aware. How much is it going to take for you to, be engaged? And, for the military people and the veterans and the people that are looking on Facebook Live, I mean, this is not just selling a broadcast. It's pretty much bringing up some content, some facts. Feelings and facts have something different, right? Your feelings have nothing to do with the facts. You can feel pissed off all you want, but the facts is that we're in some deep crap right now. And nuclear capability, as you stated, David, is imminent. And it's very much a reality. And we need to be able to take our lives and our freedom back in a number of ways that it's apparent that we've been so comfortable for the last, I say 35 years, I say 20 because we've been, how you call it, fighting this Afghanistan war for 20 years. And look what happened, pulled out. And we didn't lose, but we lost our self-respect. And if you really think about it, right? If you really think about it, other people, superpowers that are watching the situation in Afghanistan was a caveat to, this was planned. This was planned in a way where it could be able to display their sense of force and execute their right based on the history. We're not being respected, and Russia's not respecting us as a superpower. And pretty much we're playing second base. And for the veteran community as well, you should be very aware that, we as the community in the veteran community are very hyper vigilant in what's going on because we've seen it. For you civilians and everybody else that's worried about your Bitcoin and NFTs and things like that, that shit's not going to really matter at the end of the day. I'm sure that Ukraine had the same opportunities, financial opportunities as us, and look what's happening. And pretty much for a lot of people don't understand is that pay attention to what's going on. I just came from the gym today and gas prices just shot up 50 cents. Again, $6+ downtown Los Angeles. It's going to be $7 again. I wouldn't doubt it. It would be. But if you see these things coming, what are you going to do? I'm sure it's going to significantly impact you in a way where it's got to affect you. It's got to affect you in a way where you're watching this drive-by. It's a government drive-by. You're watching them assassinate people. You're watching them take over. You're watching them bombing them. They're watching doing everything else. And we're supporting them, sanctions. But we deployed like 10,000 military people out there. You know, we're supporting them. Don't get baffled by somebody's bullshit. We're in it. The problem is freedom of expression is that they don't want to create a riot, you know. And think about it this way, right? You got truckers coming to DC more or less, and they're going to protest. So back in the day where Washington, D.C. and Pentagon was never touched, in the last 3-4, 2 years plus, it's been attacked quite a few times. You know, this has been attacked. Who would have thought that the White House would need to put barbed wire fences and everything else and National Guard to protect the White House? Who would have thought that? You know, and people don't understand that more or less you're ignoring it because you're in denial, right? We're all in denial. It's like it's bullshit news, but it's really happening to this as well. And people need to understand that this is very coming close. I mean, if you're not religious, you know, you don't look at the Bible and you don't believe in the end of times, man, look at the book of Revelations, right? Read the Bible. Get some spiritual guide. You know, I'm not practicing, I'm not preaching to the choir, but more or less the spiritual guide will tell you exactly, if you know, a lot of us that right before we die, we have a decision where we want to go to meet the man upstairs or go somewhere and check out. And for us, you know, we need to understand as veterans that we need to more or less, how you call it, understand that it's important for us to be able to address things in a way where it's important and it brings value. Marielle, I know the guy's he's making stupid comments and I stopped sharing it. So you can put him on blast. We always have one, you know? So with that being said, I'm going to put my earbuds on because everything else. So for a lot of us, I want to be able to share that with you to understand that it's important that we reach out and understand the importance of things as well. So for us, sorry about that. I was lost mic, so I apologize. So again, situation awareness. So it happens when you go live. You don't pay attention to the prompts. So again, I apologize for the mute. So I'm off. I'm not on mute again. Just letting you know. So we should all unite. We should all pay attention to what's going on. And hold on just a minute. I got somebody on there. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. We can't hear you, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I put it back on. See, I was on mute. I was trying to put the earplugs, but I'm back on.
Okay. All right, cool. It was your...
All right, a lot of people that lost the mic. We lost the mic. I'm back. Again, I'm back. Let me know if you hear me. Please acknowledge, give me a thumbs up. You know, this is not professional, but we'll be able to do that as well. And now, as we stated, right, as Americans, as paid citizens and everybody else, we want to be able to reach out to everyone as much as possible and share this. If you like this content, share it, like it, tag it. Julio, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, please. All right. And then tag it, and more or less put your comments on there and make it known of what we should do. And understand that we are here to be together in a way that here's the positive thing about it, right? We have something in common, right? We have something in common as we go in there. I'm multitasking, and more or less understanding that. Jesus, excuse me. Going back to this back and forth as I'm juggling. We need to reach out to everybody else and make a stand. As I stated before, the United States is full of Russian and Ukraine immigrants. They're well known. Hey, Dave, I'm a veteran, 10 years in the Army Reserves combat, and studying and practicing how to counter Russian threats. And this is happening now. Tanks and mines were crucial, but the Ukraine do not have the time to prepare. Let's now prepare. Well, that's a good point, Dave. And that's why it's important that we address those things, because everything is going on guerrilla warfare. And it's going on guerrilla warfare for a number of reasons, because now it's more or less hand-to-hand combat. Just because you have the bigger team doesn't mean it's more or less you're going to win. But at the same time, you want to be able to make sure that it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And we want to reach out to everyone to make sure that we should, well, Stan, if we want to send those vets out there, I'm sure that, a lot of people are willing to, but is the government going to do that? Are they going to pay us? I mean, we got to watch our success as well. And then should the United States Army have no retaliation is damaging to the towers of the Atta himself in comparison to the computers. Man, I'm tired of giving you airtime, bro. Seriously. That's that 10% that always comes out. We hold them at Poland. That's right, Dave. We have them in Poland. We have them in quite a few areas, especially Germany as well. And we want to be able to say that. We need to think about our own security and our own soil. That's right, Rob. And a lot of people have forgotten that. And that's why, if gun prices and ammo prices are going up pretty high, and people are not really paying attention to what's going on as well. And we need to understand that we need to communicate for a number of reasons to get this out of the world. Again, this broadcast is brought to you by LinkedIn and LinkedIn Perspective. If you like this content, share it, like it, tag it, put your comments on there. Let me know how you feel. This broadcast is brought to you to make sure that we have a virtual town hall for all you social media participants that are paid subscribers on LinkedIn, and also to hear your voice, and pretty much not to be in a cancel culture, because I allow to facilitate everything else that's in there. And we want to make sure that your voices are heard, because everybody is going through their minds of more or less of what's going on, how they feel about themselves. People are stating that they're willing to fight, but here's the biggest thing that they don't understand. The biggest thing that they don't understand is that kids involved. So what are you going to do if you have elderly people and kids that are in there as well? How we do that? How are you going to protect your family on that? Especially when there's limited resources like the Ukraine. You really think about that, and think about those items as well. We want to make sure that people are fully aware of this, because it's time to take action. It's a course of action, to take action and to be hyper vigilant, not to create a panic situation like COVID and store up on water, toilet paper, and things like that. It's more or less like, hey, pay attention, because as I stated, the economic situation with Russia and Ukraine has significantly impacted us as much as possible. I'm busy scrolling through the comments, Stan, so I'm sorry. So pretty much, I want people to understand that. I want people to get a perspective of what's going on. But I figure that we need to do something together as paid subscribers. We need to educate ourselves. And, thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. And understand that this is going to be out there for the masses as well, And I want people to understand that it's people like you and me that make a difference in everything that we do. And you got to find a purpose. and see what we're going to do with that as well. And then understand that, as my wife says, all this won't matter until when you pass away. There'll be significance, but you want to leave a legacy as far as understanding the dynamics of your purpose. The people in Ukraine have a purpose, and they want to protect the soil and the country they live in for so long, for thousands of years. And now when we have women and children involved, and especially the elderly, it's more or less we have Putin that doesn't really care. Putin is pretty much pushing everybody's buttons, and I honestly believe that he's been able to plan this for a number of years, and he didn't want to mess with Trump, in all due respect, because he stated that Trump was unpredictable, right? So what should that tell you? If Trump was unpredictable, and we have a president that's been in Congress for over 50 years, right? What does that tell you about other individuals as well? We're being undermined by quite a few things, and undermined for a number of reasons. And United States, right? We have so many nationalities, demographics, and all that, but we're all Americans. What's the beauty of the United States? We speak different languages, but we're all American, right? A lot of people come to the country, they cross the border, they do a number of things, and they want to be able to provide, some kind of financial or freedom resolution, because we do that. And we're in deep crap now, because now we're losing our momentum as a superpower. We're being totally disrespected by another superpower who has undermined our capabilities, just like they undermined Ukraine. And the news has been able to say that they projected that that the fall of Kiev would fall, but apparently it's not going down with a fight, and that should tell you something right there. And most of all, we should be able to understand that those are the things that we need to really appreciate. Now that everything's gone to hell, you need to understand quite a few things, right? No one's perfect, but we live in a country of the land and the free, and we do things according to what the Declaration of Independence is. And we do things as well as for the veterans that have signed their life away. They fought, and those Gold Star families, and mothers, brothers, sisters, parents, kids. We do a lot of those things. So with that being said, I want to be able to, if you have any questions, feel free to call this number at 562-286-3111. That is 562-286-3111. Eventually you're going to hear a lot of war crimes as well. I mean, if you think about it, if you are more or less a Russian or Ukraine immigrant living in the United States, I'm sure that your heart goes out to that country as well. And other Russians and Ukrainians that are living outside of the United States in different countries, I'm sure that they're doing what they can, but we need to stand for something. And the biggest thing that I want to be able to say is that this is what's going on with Ukraine, right? They rather die on their feet fighting than die on their knees at the mercy of Putin and the Russian government. So I want to be able to say that again. People in Ukraine are literally doing what they're demonstrating. They rather die on their feet fighting versus die on their knees at the mercy of Putin and the Russian government and the Russian military. We should not allow the disruption and the negative connotation of the government to stage what's going on. But I implore you, audience, to understand that this is not going to go away, and more or less it needs to be addressed in a way where it's important. The purpose of this broadcast is just to reach out to the masses, to everybody else, to understand that we need to strengthen our voices. There's over, how much? 350 subscribers in LinkedIn, pretty much. So with 350 million people versus the Russian government, right? What can we do as people today, professionals? You know, you got to look at it. It's very concerning. It's very disheartening. But the biggest thing is that the situation awareness needs to be brought up to it as much as possible, you know, and we got to be able to understand that things of this nature will continue to affect us in so many ways that it would leave us unprepared for the next event that's going to happen. I'm not going to predict anything, but I just say it's too close to home for a number of reasons. And I think that for the most part, we need to understand that we need to continue to march on and understand that as Americans, we can all quarterback, but we're not at war. We're not being invaded. We're not being told to take a train and separate our kids, or we're not being told to be at the age of 16 to 60 to stay here and fight and tell our loved ones that I'll see you when I see you, you know? And more or less, I want to be able to share that because we're not on there. So when you criticize what's going on in a different country, which financially impacts us overall, take your own advice and see what are you doing in this country to provide, avoid sanctions, or how can we help our cost of living down as well. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone. If you once again, this broadcast is brought to you by LinkedIn Perspective, which is a program I created, and this is to reach out to the masses. And I want to thank LinkedIn for allowing me to utilize this broadcast to reach out to the masses, so other people can see me, who I am, versus liking my profile. Then you match the voice and the face with the profile as well. And we'll have more virtual town halls in the near future, right? But the biggest thing is, as I stated before, the reason why I jumped on today is because the situation in Ukraine is so detrimental to us, and people are getting killed for one guy that is holding the trigger to everything else, and people are just following what he says, the military, and coming to assassinate a country that's right next to Russia. I believe that for us, we need to understand the importance of that. Guys in the Marine Corps, United States Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, those that are pretty much more or less being in a deployable state, right? I wish you well. The guys in the special operations community as well, you know what you're doing. I keep it quiet because nobody needs to know. It's what you call the quiet professionals. But the biggest thing I want to say with you is this, that, right? If you have a voice, you have a purpose, you have some form of a gift, utilize it to your best of ability. Leave people wanting more. Keep it simple. And do what's right, especially when nobody's looking. So with that being said, have a great Sunday and be easy like Sunday morning. Peace out. Once again, if you like this content, share it, like it, tag it, put your thoughts on there. If you want something else, feel free, message me, and we'll have another discussion. I want to be able to stress the importance of content. I just don't want to get on here and say things just to say it, but I want to be able to utilize the moment and put it out there, because this is pretty much an hour free of endorsements and sponsors. So I'm donating and pouring back into you as you pour back into me. So with that being said, simplify, always be faithful. Peace out.